Okay, so have you ever wondered a situation whereby you check your laptop or your phone and you discover that what you have there is a private IP address and you are still able to browse the internet, whereby the only IP address that is allowed to be used on the internet is public IP address. Public IP. Private IP for internal to use within the organization or within your internal network. Okay, why this is used on the internet. So now you check your phone and you were able to see private IP address and you are still able to browse the internet. How come? How did it happen? Okay, what happened at that stage is what is called Network Address Translation NAT. Network Address Translation. So now, let's say this is your organization. Let's say this is your organization. This is your organization. Okay. Now, you are using private IP address to connect to the internet. Okay. Here we have public IP. The IP address of the internet is the public IP address. So now, you can be wondering, how come you were able to access the internet? Let's say this is the router, okay, that your company is connected to. So now, for you that is using private IP, let's say 192.168.10.0/24. For you to be able to use the internet, you need public IP, right? So now you need to configure something called NAT on the router that is facing the internet from your organization. So you configure NAT on this router so that this IP address will now be mapped to a public IP address for you to be able to connect to the internet. So let's say the public IP address we were issued, the public IP address were assigned by the ISP is let's say 8.8.8.8. So now this 8.8.8, you are able to map it to this internal IP address in order for you to reach the internet as a result of NAT being configured on this router in your organization. Okay? So if we are to define NAT, NAT is that technique or technology that allows your organization to use private IP address in order to reach the internet through a public IP address. Okay, so you have many systems inside this place, many systems used by the employees, and with the aid of NAT, you are able to use this just single public IP address issued to you by your service provider. Okay, so NAT is that technology or that technique that allow many devices within your organization to go to the internet through just single IP address, public IP address. In this case, this is the example. So now, if these systems now, let's say this system is using 192.168.10.3 for instance. So this one is using .4, while this one is using .5. So now, if they are going through the internet, it will go like this. Pa, 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 pa. When it got to this place, NAT will convert this IP address, we map it to this public IP address so that it can reach the internet. Let's say you are going to Facebook, for instance. So this is your public IP issued to you by your service provider. Will take you to Facebook. Let's say Facebook is here, Facebook server. Okay, let's say this is Facebook server. And when Facebook server wants to reply, it will still reply to this your public IP address 8.8.8.8, and this guy will still be able to return that traffic to this source 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 system, source host, the source IP address. So even if this .5, .4, everybody wants to go to the internet at the same time, they will still be able to use this single public IP address. So the technology or the technique, the method behind that mapping, that IP address mapping, is what is called Network Address Translation, NAT. Okay, that is what NAT is all about. So what are the advantages? What are the advantages of NAT? Advantages of NAT. Advantages of NAT. So number one, security. Security in the sense that you are using just one public IP, 8.8.8. You are mapping it to different private IP address internally. Let's say 192.168.10. This is dot one, this is dot two, this is dot three. So you are using just one single public IP to reach the internet from many private IP address. So now, people outside your network, they won't be able to see these your internal IP addresses. Maybe hacker, maybe bad guys, attacker, and all of them. They won't be able to see your internal addresses. If they want to come into your organization, this is what they will be seeing. Only your public IP address is what they will see. People on the internet, they won't see all these private IP address. So it provides security by hiding your internal network address scheme. Okay, another advantage, another benefit of NAT is IP, public IP address, conservation. What do I mean by that? Normally, if you are to go to the internet, you need a public IP address, which we have to subscribe to. You pay for it. It's not free. So now, normally, every system in your organization, every server, everybody in your organization that wants to go to the internet, normally you're supposed to pay for an IP address for each of the system. You pay 8.8, let's say 8.8.8.8 for this. Let's say this, you buy 23.23.23.23 for this. Let's say you buy 7.7. Imagine you will have to, how much the budget that you have to spend in order for you to be able to have public IP for all the systems in your organization for you to reach the internet. But with the aid of NAT, you are using just one public IP. You are using just one public IP to reach the internet. So instead of buying many public IP for all your systems, you just buy only one in order for you to reach the organization. In order for you to reach the internet. In order for you to reach the internet. So as a result of that, another benefit is it saves cost. It saves costs. Okay, so instead of buying public IP for each of the system in the organization, okay, instead of buying public IP for each of the systems in the organization, you will just buy only one public IP, and everybody in the organization will be able to reach the internet. Okay, so those are the advantages and what NAT is all about. Okay, so in the part 2 of this video, which I will drop the link in the description of this video below, I will discuss with you type of NAT that we have. Okay, we have 3 type of NAT. I explain all of that in the next video. That is part 2 of this video. The link is in the description. Okay, and if you have not subscribed to this channel, go and subscribe so that you don't miss out on content like this. Okay, so that you'll be the one to see content like this whenever we upload and explain network technologies like this. Okay, and configuration video on how to configure NAT, also check the description as well. One, that will be part 3, configuration of NAT, how to configure NAT. Okay, so this is part 1 where we explain NAT. Part 2 is explanation on a type of NAT, and part 3 will be on configuration. See you in the next class.